You've been on the regenerative path at Lima Park since 2020. What are the measurable changes you're seeing in the soil, in the pasture, in the animals, in the biodiversity? And how do you measure progress when you spent your career in a world of quarterly reports?
Yeah. No, and I do keep a pretty tight scorecard. So, a lot of record keeping on grazing and days per cow per acre and those sorts of things. There's a Brix meter and a penetrometer in the ATV. So kind of constantly looking at what's happening to plant health through sap analysis. There's a microscope that's sat on my office desk. I'm often looking at soil, on slides, at the compost extracts that we're putting on. A number of things from that perspective. Probably the biggest one though is just the observations every day. And you asked me earlier about the sort of e-collar GPS
collars.
I will be the last farmer in Australia to use those because I love moving the cows.
Yeah, you said that you move them 3-4 times a day. A lot of farmers don't want to do that, or maybe they have a part-time job or something, but you love it.
I love it. And, if I go back to my old job, we were really clear on the things that we needed to be really good at to be successful.
Right.
What I need to be really good at is observing what's the condition of the cows. Is it better than or worse than it was yesterday? How much of the paddock I gave them yesterday have they utilised? Did we take too much, too little?
Yeah.
Did I get the density right, or have they eaten in a patchy manner? And then, what are they going and eating when I turn them into this new paddock? What plants are they going to first? What might they be, deficient in or struggling to digest?
Yeah.
So for me, it's the most important thing that I can manage. Why would I walk away from that and get a machine to do it?
And take away the benefit of that daily observation, daily interaction.
Yeah.
So you're really accumulating the sort of information that you clearly like to accumulate information, measure it. But interestingly, what you're saying is that what you're finding in practice is that one of the most valuable parts of one of the most valuable ways you do that is by interacting with those animals every day.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I've seen your cows, and they are stunning. They are absolutely beautiful. I don't know that I've ever seen healthier coats. Yeah. Beautiful animals, beautiful healthy animals. They just glow.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. No, thank you. And almost every time I move them, I'm also looking at how well are those animals adapting, who's in good condition, who's bouncing back from a calf well, and thinking about, well, whose calf am I going to keep as a replacement to come into the herd?
Yeah.
So I think without that interaction, this is a holistic system. I think, kind of try and put too much tech in at your peril, really.
And that's what happens when people try to scale, right? Is they say, well, let's try and do this at 10,000 acres. Things like that immediately drop out of the equation. Well, we can't have daily contact with that many cattle.
Yeah, and I think, if I was trying to graze 1 million acres, I'd probably feel differently. But, it's the best 10 minutes, 4 times 10 minutes or 5 times of my day. And we don't always move 5 times a day. In the growing season, I probably try to, because I feel that's when you get the most benefit from the animal impact. But, I help organise the Grow Regenerative Farming Festival. That's pretty much a full-time job, January, February for me.
Right.
And the cows were probably being moved every 3rd day.
Right.
We all had a break. Well, they had a break while I was beavering away.
Yeah. And for all we know, every time they see you coming, they think, oh my God, that's the 4th time today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had this gift of rain at the end of February, early March. And then, growing season again.
We're
back to it.